My next guest, actress Nicole Evans, is going the distance in the world premiere of a digital production of a new comedy by Filloux-Bennett and Yasmeen from 4th to the 17th of October. Nicole has a starring role in a star-studded cast along with Stephen Fry as narrator and other household names such as Matthew Kelly and Shobna Gulati, as well as Sarah Hadland. Nicole has had roles in Captain America, Teddy, and lots of other TV and theatre productions. But her part in Going the Distance with director Felicity Montagu, who is best known for her role as Lynn in Alan Partridge, has been one that has resonated with her as an actress and someone who loves theatre. So let's find out more. So Nicole, lovely to see you and welcome to Tea Time with me, Ali Monjack. So how's it all going?
It's all going quite nice at the moment, actually. I feel like there's a bit of a surge in like jobs and everyone's spirits seem to be on the up now. I think we've got through the worst, haven't we?
We have got through the worst, and as you and I were just saying before, we came on to do the interview, it's, it really has, we've kind of adapted to home life, haven't we? And and now it's all about digital theatre. Is that the right term? I'm not so sure, but yeah, I mean, it's online theatre, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really nice that there's the option for both, because I've actually been back to the theatre 3 times since it's opened up, because I was just, I kind of needed it. I needed to be in a space where I was being entertained and with my people, and it was so nice to hear the comments from the audience afterwards. They were like, oh, I've missed this, and I really love that, a lot of theatres as well, obviously Lawrence Batley have got this for people who still are not sure whether they do want to go out or not, or whether it's safe to, or because everyone's got their own opinions and decisions. So it's really nice that there's the offer there that you can go to live theatre, but then also if you're missing that entertainment in your life, you can watch it from home. It's a great balance, I think.
Oh, I think so as well, definitely. And it means that nobody misses out, does it? So, yeah. I mean, that's great. But how does it feel for you, though, as an actress? Because you've done a bit of live theatre and, you've been in films. And now you're doing a new digital comedy.
Yeah.
From the 4th to the 17th of October called Going Places. I mean, how does that feel for you with having that sort of hybrid element?
I mean, we've filmed it already. So I really love how it was filmed. So I was going the distance, by the way. I always say it wrong. So I think it was so nice because we did film it almost like it was a play. Do you know what I mean? So because a lot of the time on like TV and films, things, sometimes, you really concentrate on that one chunk for the day, like that couple of pages, you film that in the day, then you forget it and then move on. But I think it did feel like a play, like it was all kind of filmed in the right order, and the people who worked on it as well, everyone's got a theatre background. So it did feel very theatrical, and we were filming in a theatre. So everything about it felt like, I mean, it was just lovely because we were back on stage technically. Yeah. And, like we stood there as actors being like, oh my God, like being back on a stage, because like I've not been back on a stage yet. As I said, before, I've been to watch theatre, but I've not been back on stage yet. And it was just so nice to have those two elements running alongside each other.
And of course, I'm sorry, it is Going the Distance. Going places. I think this week's weather has kind of gone to my head, really. But so, I mean, it sounds like an amazing production, doesn't it? With sort of written by Filloux-Bennett and Yasmeen. So, I mean, they're a great team and they have worked together before, haven't they?
Yeah, it's it's so clever, the writing, you know, and I think they were surprised as well when it kind of came to life. They were like, oh, because I guess as a writer, you can't, sometimes you can't envision what it might be like in the end, because you know, you don't know who's going to play those roles, or so I think they were really happy with and it's just brilliant writing. Like, as soon as like Henry sent me the script, and I was just scrolling and scrolling, and I was like laughing out loud at some of the things, and I was like, because it's quite not dangerous, but there's some things that are quite like, oh my god, I can't believe they said that, you know, and just that kind of comedy that I love, where it pushes the boundaries quite a lot, you know. And I think the characters they're fleshed out so well, and everybody's got like, it's, you know, like so many dimensions to their character, and they've given us a lot to play with, and they were happy for us to play with it as well, which was lovely, because, you know, on the day you've got all these great comedians in it who've worked in comedy for years, so on the day they were just pulling out random things and like improvising, and Henry and Yasmeen were just so on board with that, which is really lovely. You know, they weren't like, no, we didn't say that, you've got to stick to the script. They just kind of let it bloom, and yeah. It was just so much fun.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's an absolute wealth of talent, including yourself. I mean, you know, Stephen Fry is complete master of his art, isn't he?
Yeah, and it would just be so nice to have his like lovely voice over the top of it, you know, and like kind of, because I guess the narrator's job is to guide the audience through the story. So I can't wait to see it all in place. I really can't. I think they've picked the perfect person to bring the story alive, really, to, you know, people at home. And it's just, yeah, I think people might watch it more than once as well, because there's so much going on. You know, like in The Office, it's kind of filmed, some of bits are quite documentary style like that. So there's quite a lot going on. So it'll be nice to watch it, you know, a couple of times. Or yeah.
And it's such a simple plot, isn't it? I mean, it's about the Matchborough Community Theatre Company who are trying to save their local venue, aren't they? And they're doing a fundraising production. So I mean, it sounds really fun in itself. So you can sort of picture a lot of thespians, not saying that you are thespians, which you probably are. So
yeah,
you know, trying to save their local venue, which just sounds amazing, really.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think it's so relatable, and even for people who've never stepped foot in a theatre, you know, during COVID and like all through the pandemic, people have had to try and save like their businesses, you know, their families, like, you know, everything. So even if you're not a typical theatre goer, let's say, or you can relate to it in any way, because they go to some like really funny lengths to try and save it. And like, I can imagine that there's like mums and dads and grandparents and everything out there that have done things in lockdown that they think, oh my god, we've, you know, the lengths we've had to go to just to kind of stay afloat, you know. But I think as well, like every community has got one of these groups, you know. So like, I know my local community, like where I'm from, they had a theatre group growing up, and all of these things do happen, and you've always got your really like funny characters, you know, like sometimes like the older people who've been there forever who just love being on stage, and you get the new people who want to be professional, you know, and you just have such a, like you say, like a wealth of characters. And I think it really shows that. And I think also it just shows how dear like theatre is to people, because it's part of our heritage in the UK, and it's been around for hundreds of years. And I think, you know, it shows how important it is not to lose that.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. You know, all the times I can think of, you know, of seeing as well Andrew Lloyd Webber, for one, you know, on several news programs during lockdown, and you know, towards the end of lockdown, and when we finally sort of came out to a Freedom Day, as it were. I mean, I think you know, really shouting about, you know, that you need to open those theatre doors now, that we need to have musicals, we need to have theatre, and that, you know, I mean, the whole industry has suffered immensely, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. And, you know, for people in the industry, like performers and creatives, and, you know, I mean, there's people who, you know, it's not just actors, you know, it's like costume designers, like wig makers, just everybody, like even like, you know, like the front of house staff and people who work at the bars at the theatre, they all really add to, you know, the whole vibe of being in a theatre. Like it's a real team effort, you know, and I think everybody's found ways to keep their mental health strong. And, you know, when you're creative as well, you can't just put on a play for like your mum and dad in your living room or whatever. You've got to kind of find new ways to keep the juices flowing. But I think also for people who love the theatre as a, you know, like audience, you know, they love the theatre as a kind of escape. I think it's been really difficult for them as well, because they've not had that. Because you don't get it with TV. You can sit with your phone and watch the TV. So you've still not got the escape, have you? Whereas theatre is no phones, no nothing. You're just immersed for that couple of hours. And I feel like people need that at the moment, just to forget about everything that's gone on. And, you know.
Definitely. No, you're absolutely right. So your role is, I mean, obviously it's a brand new play anyway, so, you know, we don't know the ins and the outs of it. So your character is Billy. Now, what role does Billy play in all of this?
Billy she's kind of like, she's like the tragicom, really. I mean, you love to hate her kind of thing, because she is, you know, she's the kind of girl she's in there as the professional, she thinks, you know, and nobody else knows anything. And she thinks she knows everything about this industry, and what she doesn't know isn't worth it, you know. And she kind of comes in, and they bring her in as kind of like a star name, really. And obviously, like, quite a lot of people are just, you know, like, who is this? Because she really takes that role on, you know. And she's like, I know I'm here as the star name, you know. And she really believes that she's like the famous one. But I think she's doing it for her ego, you know. A lot of that is for her ego. But she does go through a journey as well, and, you know, and she does learn some lessons, and then realizes that it's kind of not all about her. It's a group, it's a community thing. But yeah, she's definitely there for her career, like to make it shine. And, you know, she wants the newspaper articles, and it's her chance to be on stage and the main part. And, you know, like, kind of, it's just great. And the thing that's so funny about it is that it is quite tragic that she believes she's good enough to do all of this, you know, because she's really not. And it was such a joy. It was such a joy to play her, because it's almost like she's not the villain, but she kind of is. You do love to hate her, like I said, but it's a really nice contrast towards, like, some of the other characters are just really sweet. And like Penny's character is just, you know, she's lovely. She loves the theatre, and it's all about the friends she's made there. And she's been going since she was a little girl. And whereas Billy is just like, she's in there for the fame, you know, she doesn't care about the community. So.
Oh gosh, bless her. No, it does sound like an interesting dynamic. And of course, there's how many of those? About 8 of you, isn't there? In the yeah,
and everyone's got their own. I mean, it's really lovely. Like, everyone learns something about themselves during it, and, you know, everyone goes on their own journey, and it's just really lovely. And yeah, I think it's one of those things that, I don't know, because we touched on the Wizard of Oz as well. It's got everything in it that you love about theatre, like all the behind the scenes that goes wrong, but then the glittering kind of shining hope that there is for, you know, the production and everybody involved. And yeah, it's really, really nice, but really fun. I can't wait to see it fully. So I've not seen it.
I bet. And I mean, you know, it runs parallel to real life, because let's face it, all of us during this pandemic have learned something about ourselves, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I thought about just as I said it. I was like, actually, yeah, it's really relatable, because we were all chucked into a situation that we've never had before, and it's you learn about, like, when something challenges you, you learn about yourself, don't you? And I think as well, like, at the end, it's like Billy learns like compassion and kindness and it's not just about her. And it is telling of how everybody felt in the pandemic. We had to come together as a community, and it wasn't like a solo act, was it? If you were on your own, it was very hard in lockdown. You had to find some kind of community or family, or do you know what I mean? And
yeah, of course, yeah. And I mean, so many of us, I don't know about you, but I mean, certainly for me, I sort of got up every day and was very thankful for all my family and friends. And the fact that, I wasn't living alone, I think, was one of the biggest things.
Yeah, I think that would have been really, really hard. Luckily, one of my friends had moved in with me as well. So, and I just think, God, I couldn't have done that without her, because it's that thing. Because my parents, obviously, like right at the beginning, you couldn't see anybody. You weren't even allowed to we weren't even allowed to drive to their house. So, and we couldn't have friends around. So it was just, if I didn't have someone to get up to and talk to in the morning, it would have been really difficult, because we were all, like struggle, because nobody's been through it before. So we have a lot of questions, didn't we? Like, and who do you talk to if you're on your own?
Yeah.
So that's like things like, like Zoom and Skype have been just amazing, haven't they? And
yeah. And and as you said, I mean, part of this performance that you're doing, I mean, it's really developed, isn't it? This whole sort of streaming, well, it's not live theatre in your case, but I mean, this whole sort of, digital theatre, as it were. So, I mean, it's amazing that it means that nobody gets left out.
Exactly. And, I think, I used to watch the musicals with my nan all the time. Like we loved watching the old musicals and things like that. And I just think for people that have really missed that, like this, it'll be something that they can look forward to, because it's like going to the theatre and watching the cinema at the same time. And it'll just be, I think it'll be great. And like Lawrence Batley have done amazing things throughout lockdown, to keep, so obviously they've got their audiences who have, season tickets or who go to the theatre regularly. And I think we forget that so many people do go regularly to the theatre, and it's it kind of keeps it alive and keeps them alive as well. So made it accessible.
Absolutely. That's the thing, isn't it? Which is great on everybody. So what's it like working with Felicity?
Oh, she was just amazing. And it was so funny, because when I had we had a Zoom call like this, and I didn't like read any of the script or anything. And I was just, because as soon as Henry told me who it was, I'm a huge Alan Partridge fan, and I'd never told Felicity, because I didn't want to come across as like that, like a big fan, I just, it was so bizarre, because we were just talking like this, and I was just trying to stay really calm, because I was like, oh my God. And she was just magic. She really was. And she was so giving as a director. She gave me so much to think about. And obviously we do all our prep work, and we do, even after we'd had our interview and then I was told I had the job, she texted me and was like, phone me about anything. So I gave her, we had a lovely chat about, where we might go with the accent, because she's a bit of a phony, Billy, the character. So I thought she might, want a kind of, I don't know, like she wouldn't really stay true to her own voice kind of thing. She'd maybe try and get a London accent or something like that. So, we were talking about that. And then Felicity was giving me like a bit of like homework to do, like think of this, think of that. And just really helped me like flesh out the character. I mean, it's all there anyway in the script, but just extra things to think about. And yeah, she was just so giving as a director. I don't know, I felt selfish because I wanted her to like talk to me all the time because she had so much like knowledge about comedy.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, working with Steve Coogan, I mean, she must have rolled up around that studio floor many a time because he's just hysterical, isn't he?
Yeah, I know. And she's so there's such a like lovely like childlike playfulness to her as well. Like, because I see sometimes when she's watching the monitor and watching some of the actors, and she'll go like, yes, you know, and like she'll get dead excited for the actors, which is lovely because it was her directorial debut. So for an actor to get really excited about other actors, I think is so, you know, it's so nice. And Shobna Gulati as well. During it, she changed some of her lines to make my lines, to make the comedy like land for me. And I thought that was just so like selfless as an actor, because, you know, all of us want the funny lines and we all want and I just thought everyone on set, they were so giving, and because everyone wanted to work towards a shared goal of it being the best it could be, you know, and it just, yeah, everyone just gave a lot. And I think it was the first time a lot of people had worked, you know, like in a kind of big group during COVID. So we were all just like thrilled to be there and wanted to make it the best it could be. So.
Oh, fantastic. So how long did it actually take you to produce it all?
I think they were working, so I was on for 3 days. I think they'd done 2 days prior, and I'm not sure how long the pre-production was, like the meetings with like the DOP, and but it was crazy how much we got done in that time, you know. And it wasn't like we weren't working overtime till like 10 o'clock at night or anything, but I think it was just, I don't know, it's just a super speedy turnaround. And the thing is with comedy as well, you don't want to do it too many times because then it's,
otherwise you lose the momentum, don't you?
Yeah, and it starts to, you stop finding it funny, whereas there's just moments of this that even though I'd heard the script on the read through and I'd watched him, I was still laughing, like watching people, because there are just some, but even though it's funny, there are some really poignant moments as well. And it's one of those things that I love about comedy, where you can be just, you know, like in bits watching something, and then the next thing you'll be laughing your head off, and it just takes you everywhere. It's really nice.
Oh, fantastic. So as we've said, it's showing from the 4th to the 17th of October. So, I mean, do you just go online and get tickets? Is that how it works?
Yeah, there's a link on the Lawrence Batley Theatre on their Twitter and Instagram. There's a link to that, and the Oxford Playhouse as well. They've linked to it, the Watermill Theatre. So yeah, a few of them. You can find it on their website. So you get a link and you buy tickets for a specific date. So it's like you're going to a live show. So you buy for that date. So I think me and my family are all going to try and have like a theatrical gathering together and get some popcorn and things like that.
Lovely.
And, you know, watch it together, which will be nice.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm really wanting to watch it myself. It sounds like a brilliant performance. It really does. And, you know, I mean, goodness knows how many more laughs we really need right now as well.
I know. Yeah, I've been to like 3 comedy shows because I was just like, I went to see Ricky Gervais the other week, and then I've been to see some stand-up comedy in Manchester that Hope Mill Theatre were putting on. So, and I've loved it because I've really missed it, you know, because you can watch films and things, but most of the time you've seen them before, or it's just nice to, I don't know, it's nice to watch something new, isn't it? And just have, you know, just
engage with it completely, rather than, you know, engaging. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just that much more, that level of engagement, I think, theatre as well, isn't it? And live comedy and things like that. I think that's brilliant. So so what for you next? Because you've got a film out soon, haven't you?
Yeah, there's a couple of things coming up. So I did a bit of filming on the Bay earlier this year, so I think that's out in October. I'll be back in theatre, which is nice. So I'm working with Blue Stocking Theatre Company, which is an all-female writers. So they're having a night of all-female writers, and that'll be lovely in Manchester. So there's some great stories there. Just the one I'm doing is kind of a lot of things that sometimes men don't realise we go through, you know, and it's a one-woman script, the one I'm doing. So it's quite a lot to learn, but it's quite short as well. But yeah, really, really nice. And then, yeah, a couple of, I don't know when the film is coming out actually, but it should be soon. Hopefully, it's had another premiere in Monaco, so didn't get to go to that, but you know.
Never mind.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be up on the big screen as well soon. So
What's
yeah.
it called, Nicole?
Blackbird.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah, that's a nice one as well. It's like a golden age Hollywood style film. So that's quite nice. And one of those things that would have been nice for people over lockdown as well, because it's got that, you know, like James Bond has that like familiarity of like, I don't know, just those classic kind of films. It's got that. So it would have suited all of the family as well, which, so yeah, fingers crossed that comes out soon.
You know, well done you for going the distance, as they say.
Thank you. Yeah.
So it sounds like a great new digital comedy, and yeah, I look forward to seeing it myself in October as well. So and yeah, great to see you. You take care.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye. Look forward to chatting with my next guest on the Tea Time Sofa this time next Saturday. In the meantime, if you would love to get in touch about having a chat with me, you can reach me on teatime@forthenow.co.uk, or you can find me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram on Tea Time with AM. Bye for now.